Well, hi. Today is Wednesday, October 8th, 2025. I'm Todd Studer, and this is Morning Coffee. If you haven't seen the election results yet, we have them posted in the description here to this episode where you're watching it. Of course, yesterday, the primary election for both mayor and city council in Council Bluffs, Iowa. So, again, those two offices, we have the primary results posted in the description. Coming up today, we're going to visit with our old friend Carol Horner, the author of the book Spiral of Accountability. And we did this at one of her favorite parks in town, what she would call her childhood park, which is Sunset Park. And we talk about her history there and just some of her memories, and also some of the ways that maybe we can feel a little less divided in society. How about that? Couldn't we all use some of that? That's coming up on today's episode of Morning Coffee. Also, coming up very soon, we're going to get out and do another restaurant review and highlight with Bryce Taylor with GLI Insurance Group. GLI Insurance Group is a locally and family-owned independent insurance group that's been helping people find the best possible plan for them for over a decade. So when it came time to go out and do restaurant highlights, I thought of no one better to do this than Bryce Taylor, because Bryce is the founder of the Council Bluffs Food Lovers page on Facebook. Are you a member? Chances are that you are, because I think there's over 13,000 members now on that page. So another restaurant highlight coming up very, very soon, thanks to Bryce Taylor with GLI Insurance Group. S&B Country Kennel, the top spot in Southwest Iowa when you need to know your dog will receive only the best. Boarding, daycare, grooming, self-washing, training, even a membership available to a dog park over an acre in size. S&B Country Kennel also has rescue dogs, so check with them about adoption possibilities. sbcountrykennel.com, that's country spelled with a K, located just west of I-29 on Bunkie Avenue, south of Council Bluffs. And if you haven't had your furnace checked yet, you need to get a hold of AirServe Heating and Air Conditioning in Council Bluffs. They can come out, inspect everything, make sure that you are ready for the winter weather that is on the way. Trust me, I get it. We've had some warmer weather, but winter's coming. So airservecouncilbluffs.com is the website. Well, a long time ago, Carol Horner and I were in a park, and we were talking about Sunset Park. And I said we should go shoot a video and an interview from there one time, and that's what we're doing today.
Here we are.
Here we are, and it's not sunset, it's sunny.
Yes.
Today, as we are visiting this, and it's actually a beautiful, what would ordinarily be considered a warm fall day, except for the kind of weather we've been having lately.
I know.
But it's beautiful, and I can see why you like it out here.
Yeah, I grew up in this park. I was a South Ender. I grew up at 24th Avenue and 6th Street, and went to Peterson Elementary School, and went to Longfellow Junior High School back when it was all that. The swimming pool over here, Cattleman Swimming Pool, was my daycare. Basically, we'd take lessons in the morning, and then we were junior lifeguards in the afternoon, and had just a ton of fun. Played softball in this field over here. Broke my leg there. Yeah.
I'm guessing that if you watch the movie The Sandlot, a lot of that ties right back in with memories to this park.
Oh yeah, yeah. This was one of those places where, so when I rode a bicycle, because I don't really like riding bicycles, but back then it was how you got somewhere, and that's how we got here. And so we would cross 23rd Avenue and hold on for our lives, and then drive up, just ride up here 12th Street and just hang out here at the park. And this was a place that, now you don't let young kids go do stuff like that. But I mean, I was 8, 9 years old with my little brother in tow when we would come here and play, and just head home when we needed to head home. And yeah, this was a place we took off for all the time.
Is there a lot of differences at this park from when you remember?
Yeah.
Obviously, the playground area.
Yeah, the playground is, yeah, and this whole idea of having like soft things to land on. And plastic slides versus steel.
Oh yeah,
that would just fry you. And I remember right over here was the twirly, right? Where
Yeah.
you go as fast as you could, and somebody would go flying off, and it was just all pure fun.
Oh, yeah.
And now, we'd probably get prosecuted for child abuse. But yeah, I remember now that swing set that's over there is real close to what we had. And we would get to swinging on that and trying to actually, we thought we could swing high enough that we could wrap ourselves around
Oh,
it.
yeah. Yeah, I remember
Oh
doing the
yeah,
same
and
thing.
fly off
Yeah,
and
physics
just,
don't work that way.
no, they don't.
Because you can't unless you can do it if it's not chains. If they're like stiff poles, then it will hold you and the momentum will carry. I watched an episode of MythBusters
Oh
about
yeah,
this.
there you go.
So
There you go. Well, we thought we could do it, never did. But we would get to swinging on that thing. Oh yeah, just the things we used to do.
you take a look at Sunset Park or some of the other parks that are around
Mm,
town, and you get a
yeah.
lot of nostalgia. And they're used. Many parks are. You see families out there. You see when I was doing the park series, and Sunset Park was one of them. I noticed that there was something going on at every single park that I
Yeah.
went to, and that's, I think, an important part of what we have in Council Bluffs is our park system, and that I think the community takes pride in those.
Yeah, because it's an important thing. It's a place for families to go. It's welcoming. It's all inclusive. It's a very inclusive environment. Anybody can spend time here.
Mhm.
Even if you're just sitting and watching the kids play, or bringing children here, or just taking a walk around, or you know, playing at the pool, or umpiring a softball game or a baseball game. We've got tennis, and they have pickleball, that you can play here, and all this stuff that's just very, very inviting and very, very inclusive and very, very neighborhood, right? I remember when they were redoing Bayless Park and they couldn't do music in the park. And I pushed. I said, "You guys got to come to Sunset." And they were like, "Okay, yeah, we were already planning on that." So they came to Sunset, and out of the woodwork, the neighbors came to hang out.
Yeah.
And it was just so popular. And it's like, y'all need to keep bringing stuff back here. And then Cochrane's the same way. The neighbors just come out of the houses and hang out for events. And you know our Rotary Club was the first one to put a book in the book walk. And so it's you walk and read, and it's a children's book, and it's got little stations all the way around this little area right here, on the path that families can take and read and walk and read and walk and read and walk. And we put a book in, um, on diversity, and it was very, very well received, and really kind of took off this idea of having these book walks. And so really, just a lot of new stuff, but a lot of the same old, let kids come and figure out how to play. We always have so much structure sometimes, for children, and they don't learn to just play and figure it out, right? Learn how to have conflict. I mean, we would play ball games here, and people would come in, kids would come out, and we didn't even know, and just picked up teams, and we'd play this pickup game of softball, or wiffle ball or something. And, we umpired ourselves, and you had to have, you had to negotiate when you had differences, and be able to give and take. And I don't know that we're teaching kids that as much when we solve all the problems for them and structure the daylights out of them.
That's a very good point. I can remember doing that exact same thing in the area that I grew up in, and
Yeah.
if it was a really tight call and could go either way, we tended to not make as big of a deal out of it because we knew that eventually there was going to be one of those calls that we wanted to go the other way.
Yeah.
And it was more of a chance. And without even really thinking about it, it was kind of a natural way to get to. And you talk about a lot of this similar things in your book
Yeah.
about learning to communicate with each other, and how do we do that? Because we've lost
Yeah.
our ability for the most part, not universally, but it seems that the louder a person is on one particular stance or another, then the less flexible they're going to be. And it turns into just this constant back and forth and nastiness that tends to descend into things that we just don't want to be a part of.
Well, and a big part of it is that we're at this place where we're deciding that difference in opinion and in experience and background and all that is something to be despised almost, you know. It's like when we were kids and we would pick these teams and draw up these teams and play this game without any adult supervision at all, like no adult involvement at all, just kids and a variety of ages of kids, right? And it came down to, you know, you knew the next week you could be on somebody else's team. And so it wasn't a matter of being, you know, you're against us, so we're going to hate on you. You know, it was like, you know, you tell people, hey, that was a good play, you know, and we would cheer each other on, you know, you know, and if you had a little kid, we'd find a way to, you know, help them get to first base or do something that they got to play a little bit, right? And that was all, you know, and we still have winners and losers, right? I mean, I lost as many games as I won in this process with our teams, and it was. But you didn't just because you were on different teams. Even when we ride bikes back home, you know, with the people that live near me, it was over. The game was over. The fight, the competition.
Mhm.
It was over. Now we're heading home and hoping we're getting home in time not to get in trouble, or, you know, whose water hose are we going to drink out of? And, you know, I mean, everything changed subject. We moved on from our disagreements and didn't hold them forever. Now, if you had a bully, we had to deal with that. And we did deal with it, you know, and you know, we would stand up for each other if necessary. We would put people in their places and say, you're not going to behave like that around us. You can leave. And nobody owned the neighborhood. We didn't have a hierarchy. We were all kind of like South End kids. And whoever you got together, that was who you were playing with. And, you know, I wish there'd be more of that. And when, you know, when I think about the spiraling, the book I'm writing right now about using the spiral bridge divides is very much about having that sense of relationship and having that curiosity for difference, that curiosity for different perspectives, and then having the responsibility of knowing my relationship's more important than this item, this thing that we're discussing or debating or really just flat out arguing over, you know, because we are different in how we're looking at this and we're different in how we want it to come out. That's okay. But if you don't, if you place that in the relationship and the relationship is allowed to suffer, you still have this conflict, but now you have no relationship to work through it. And so the idea of like, it is a thing. It always starts as a thing, right? Even if you know, offended me, it's still that thing. It's the thing you said. It's the thing you did. It's whatever. Can I say, can we have this conversation and maybe our relationship can work through that thing? And we don't have this problem anymore. But if I put it here, it isn't going anywhere.
I know you have talked about certain situations where you had a direct disagreement with someone, and even that particular conversation getting a little bit elevated, and then afterwards you went and you sat down and you had a beer,
Had a beer.
and it was the beer wasn't in an effort to fix things. It was
Mm.
just the next stage. Okay, that's done.
Yeah.
We're still friends.
Yep.
We still live in the same community.
Yep.
We still have a lot of the same goals. We just had different views right then. And when you told me that story, that was something that stuck with me.
Yeah.
That it's okay to disagree.
Yeah.
And it's okay to have opposite sides. But the 100% win or loss thing that we've gotten into in society, it bugs me.
Yeah. And, you know, and a lot of times there's not a right or wrong. You know, there just is this polarity to manage. There's different ways of looking at it, different ways of making it happen. You know, it's like when I work with companies and, you know, they get back and forth on whether they focus on quantity or quality. You need both right? You need both of them. And how do we find that balance? Because if we focus too much on one, the other one suffers, right? It's the same thing in our relationships in debating and interacting and stuff like that is that we have to find that balance where, yeah, we're going to disagree. We're not, I mean, shoot, I disagree with me half the time. I mean, I'll have arguments with myself in the mirror. And, to think that that means our relationship is over, our relationship is not repairable, is just scary for our society. And, this idea of rugged individualism has to end. We have to see ourselves as communities and in community with each other. And, we're not, it takes a village to raise a child kind of thing. We're not in this world alone. We are very, very, very social animals. Biologically, evolved all that. Social animals. We build societies. We build families.
We build towns,
We
communities,
build towns and
parks.
communities and parks. And yeah, and so it's a matter of can we hold those connections more dear than proving somebody wrong or fighting against stuff and even making shit up to do it.
Yeah.
As opposed to, hey, we've got a problem to solve. Let's sit down and talk about what our options are and what's our best solution. How are we going to move forward together? And who all needs to be at this table to have this conversation?
We tend to, politics tends to be up at the top of that list and the one thing that everybody pays attention to. But I think it bleeds down into other areas of life past that.
Oh, by all
And
means.
we can get so divided on the political spectrum that we start to think that it's not a differing of opinion. It's a difference of good versus evil. And
Yeah.
we've taken it that far.
And whichever side you're on is the good, and the
Yes.
other side is absolutely evil,
Yeah.
all the time, always.
Regardless, it doesn't matter that, that one side that you don't vote for may say something that you would agree with, except the fact that it's on the other side, so I have to disagree.
Absolutely. And it's called, in my world, I call it the addition filter. And I tell this story because I built a house right over here, in my home neighborhood.
Right.
Back in 2003, and then sold it in 2017. And I am very curious about how things are made and structured and put together. And this was my house, and the first time I'd ever built a house. And so I went every day to kind of watch what was going on out of curiosity. I wasn't one of those yucky owners that nah, about this, that, and the other thing. I just wanted to understand how the house was put together. And I showed up one day, and the electrician was there, and he was wiring the little bathroom, the half bath on the main floor, on the ground floor. And in this area of the city, you cannot have a basement. The water table sits at 10 feet.
Right.
And that's on a normal year. Any year that we get extra water, it's up. In 2011, that water was like, making puddles from underneath. And we ended up, so I came in, he's trying to wire this little bathroom, which is, my safety room for tornadoes and such. So it's got extra studs, it's been footed, all of that. And the drywall guy was there measuring to put drywall up the next day after the electrician was done. And these guys are about to come to blows. They were so angry at each other and just screaming at each other. And I sat there for a second. So I walked in the door, they didn't see me. And I was listening, and I'm like, y'all are saying the same thing. The electrician was concerned, he's got all these wires everywhere, and all these extra studs that the drywall guy's got to screw into, and he doesn't want them screwing into his wires. The drywall guy is all upset because there's going to be all these wires, and he's got to screw into these studs, and he doesn't want to screw into the wires. And I'm like, time out, gentlemen. And when you're the owner, you kind of get attention.
Yeah.
And so I said, time out. And I said, here's what I hear. I believe you're saying the same thing. And, so I'm pretty sure that we're on the same side and everything's going to be okay, and they just kind of harumph and go to their corners. And I went into my general contractor who was in the kitchen, and I said, what was that? He's like, Carol, you don't understand. Drywall guys and electricians aren't allowed to get along. And I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. And that's an addition filter. If I'm hearing it from you, you've got to be wrong, because of who you are and what you do.
Right.
And, it's the same thing when I work with companies when it comes to management and unions. Who says we can't create a work environment that is awesome for everybody. Why is it that we've got to have a battle and we've got to fight something? Like we couldn't possibly ever come to a really good agreement without this big fight. And it just stems from this idea that I fill in the blanks. I'm not allowed to like you.
Yeah, I've said many times that I've had more intelligent conversations arguing college football than politics. Because people just they don't ever want to see the other side, and I'm grateful that you're out here talking about this kind of thing because it's got to start somewhere,
Yeah.
and we have to start moving in the correct direction. Because here's what I truly do believe: the majority of the people are right on board with you of what you're saying right now.
I'm getting some of that feedback. Yeah.
But it's the louder you are, the more attention you get.
Yeah.
So it's the loud voices, and we've also learned that the outrage sells. So
Sure.
that's what
Well,
gets
I mean, that's
shown.
what we're.
Yeah.
I mean, we're taught that. I mean, when they deregulated the news, because I'm old enough to remember when Walter Cronkite and those folks,
I was a Harry Reasoner guy.
and Harry Reasoner, and this whole idea that they needed to show all the sides, and they were information givers. We don't have news that's information. We have pundits spewing what our opinion should be.
Yep.
And then we have algorithms on social media that will direct exactly what we want to hear. Even AI is doing this now.
Oh, yeah.
You will see AI that is lining things up the way you want it lined up. Because AI's role, all this contraption knows, this algorithm knows, is it's supposed to make you happy. It's supposed to please you somehow. It's supposed to get you answers that you're going to value.
It's trying to create that dopamine hit.
It
The
is.
way that we get that is by feeding us something that we already believe is true.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're not being challenged
anymore.
No,
and we're not, and we've moved away from teaching critical thinking. Especially in schools, we're teaching a whole lot of how to pass a damn test, and not about critical thinking, and we're still teaching rote memory and things that I can just pull out my phone and look up. Why do I have to memorize these things? What I need to know is, as I'm looking things up, can I discern it? Can I double check it? Do I know how to backfill and understand how accurate is this or not? What other data is out there that opposes that? And can I discern which of this is closer to a reality that I can grab hold of, right? And know full well that it's usually mucked up in the middle. It's never this extreme. And yet that's where our politics live, where our algorithms live. Because I can tell you right now, I mean, I'm still on Facebook because I've taught that algorithm what I want to see. I want to see puppies and kittens, and I want to see scuba diving videos, and I want to see, and I want to see fart jokes, and I've convinced it. So I don't, even if I get something that I don't want, I just ignore it.
Right.
I don't even respond to it. I just ignore it. And I like the things that I really want to see more of. And guess what?
That's what you see.
Yeah, I got a whole lot of chicken jokes out there. I tell you what. And it's great. Unfortunately, it is doom scrolling because I can spend a half hour looking at chicken jokes.
Oh, yeah. I've actually just started something new this morning. And that is, from when I wake up, I'm not picking my phone up for an hour.
Good for you.
Oh, that's hard.
I know it's hard.
Oh, that's hard because I want to go and make sure that, because usually I'm up between 5 and 5:30. Well, the show launches at 6, so I want to make sure that it's there. Well, you did everything to make sure that it was scheduled correctly. You double checked everything. So it's going to be there. Yeah, but I have to make sure. And then because of that, well, now there's the videos. And because they show up really quickly.
Yeah, they do.
And then it's I'm just scrolling and I'm waiting to hit that little dopamine hit. And, a lot of times it's the guys doing the dad jokes on the dock. I don't know if you've seen those.
Oh, yeah.
But they're hilarious. So, and I'll catch one of those. And next thing I know, I'm seeing one after another.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I get kind of lucky in that my first order of business when I get up is, one is make sure Queenie's happy. my cat, because, you know, if she's not happy, you know, and probably get coffee going or something, get a little food in me, and then I'm out the door to First Row Fitness. And so I'm there. And so I don't really get to my phone for an hour, hour and a half. And it's mostly because I have this routine of going to First Row Fitness. And, you know, and then I get socially to see all my friends and work out and you know, stress my body so that I'm be healthier and stronger. And, you know, we're doing a challenge right now of 100,000 meters in 10 weeks. And I'm like, I'm going for 200. And, you know, and so it, and then I can come back, and then it's like, okay, now I should just get my work day started, but then I've got to have the full blown breakfast. And then I sit down, and then it's the rats. Here comes the dream. So that's the thing I've got to try to get changed up, is not getting sat down for breakfast and then spending another extra hour when it takes me 10 minutes to eat breakfast, another extra hour doing silly stuff that doesn't help me.
Well, that's the idea. And this coming from someone who's making a living on that platform.
Oh, I know.
But still,
I know.
everything is in balance.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this is designed, you know, what I do is designed to be local information, and it's designed to be actual information. I'm not here to express my opinion. I'm here to be a conduit for other people.
Yeah.
Which, such as yourself, and the fact that you have been talking to people, and it meant so much to you that you wrote a book about it, and you're working on a second. That and right here in Council Bluffs, that all of this is happening, and I'm thrilled that that you're out there doing that.
Me too, and I enjoy your shows. I oftentimes, and this may be too much information, I listen to it in the shower. So I have a little waterproof thing that, you know, and so I usually listen to podcasts while I'm showering.
I do the same
and getting
thing.
ready.
I listen to a couple of business guys that I like, and they're more motivational than specific business, but you know, they talk about a lot of the things you're talking about. Not getting lost in the weeds and staying on point of what it is that you want to work on. And so I do the same thing.
Yeah, you know, Simon Sinek, a bit of optimism. I love his podcasts. Mel Robbins usually has some really good information on her podcasts. You know, yeah, so I do. I just, I listen to podcasts, and yours is one of them. That is too why I do that. Yeah.
Thank you very much for that. I'm
always learning something new.
For the support that you've given over this past year, as this episode is episode 1 of year number 2. How about that?
I love it. I'm honored. I'm honored.
So
this is good stuff.
Appreciate your time. Thanks for inviting me down and giving me your own history here at Sunset Park. And it's a lot of open space, a lot of space to move around. I'm seeing plenty of room to throw a frisbee. You got the softball fields, you got basketball, you got tennis, you got all this stuff down here.
The pool, and we've got the horseshoe pits. The horseshoe pits are like, we get state competitions here. It's like a big deal. It's like really a big deal. Like, people come in, like travel here to play horseshoes at Sunset Park in Council Bluffs, Iowa. Go figure.
All right. This is Carol Horner. Her book is Spiral of Accountability. Go to the website, spiralofaccountability.com. Pick up a copy. Support the local authors right here, and she's one of them. And thank you so much. And we look forward to the next time.
Awesome.
When you need precision metal fabrication done right, look no further than Foxco Fabrication in Council Bluffs. Custom welding to large-scale manufacturing, bringing your ideas to life with expert craftsmanship and cutting-edge technology. And they're just about ready to begin taking your custom orders again. Go to foxcofab.com to see some of the projects they've already completed, maybe give you an idea of something that you would like to have done. foxcofab.com. And since 1870, Avila Bank has been providing Iowans with high-quality financial products and services to fit their needs. Whether you need a loan, would like to start a new business account, saving money for a trip, or looking to open a personal checking account, Avila's qualified bankers can help you with all of that and more. Visit avila.bank to learn more. That's going to wrap up today's show. Thanks again, Carol Horner, for being our guest today, and thanks for the great idea of going outside and shooting at Sunset Park. My name's Todd Studer. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning.